So my work starts with looking at the everyday life with my family and observing my kids how they move their body. And when they're together and in family events, that's where I find how they have a cluster and into some different shapes, and that leads me to somewhere different. And that's how it unfolds into landscape, unfolds into another dimension, or take me to somewhere in the art history. I really look into the process of painting, that the work, I don't know where it's going to be, actually. I start with a body, and through the brush strokes, sometimes it's very abstract, but a color or a gesture would become a shape of something else that, it leads me there, and then I would look for the next step, how to develop it. And also in this work, there's actually a reference of a Chinese painting that is about mountains and listening to the wind, the sound of the wind of the pine forest. And actually in the middle of that is the actual reference of the painting, the structure of the classic painting in the Song Dynasty. But then on the two sides of it are the extension of my own versions. And because I feel like the history itself is not enough. We're sitting on the shoulder of the history. So I want to expand that into my own version and bring my own idea and how the world is in those two extra panels. So as a 3-panel work together as a whole, this is about where I am and where I'm unfolding. So this work is one of the first works I started with this whole series that I really try to break down into the process of painting. I do no sketches on this one at all. There's no lines, no where to place the figures first. I just throw paint on it, and it starts from there. It's not very accurate, but there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of colors in there, and it slowly develops. So I started with this very domestic environment, like a bed. So you can see that the creases, the linings, and then you can see that there's two big figures that's entangled. And so I started from actually figures from my daughters, and with the body, I start with the body, and then when I do the brush strokes actually brings in the green color, and the green color leads me to a garden. So I was looking for a garden kind of palette, and then the garden leads me to the sky. It's very obvious, so one leads to the other, you see. And then, so under that same sky, it leads me to different memories and fragments of memory that I've been in the past, or that happy family memories, or different kind of places that I've been. So this work has contained many different places and fragments of the memory, but then it's like one generated by the other. It's nothing that you can decide in advance. You see the foil, it goes with the wind. And I wanted to reflect, actually represents the sunlight that's reflecting from the fire. It's a fire, it's the sunlight from the south of France. There's a lot of things that's intertwining together. And so I painted this work, I started this work with wanting to paint many feet on the lawn. So it was my children diggling and running around on the lawn, and very soft lawn. And there was this energy that's very, very energetic, very vital, that really had me had a kick. It makes me want to really capture that moment. And that moment, to me, it represents ecstasy, it represents life, it represents something that's very important, energy of regeneration. While I was doing that, I decided, I want to do it upside down. So you can see that the feet is going up, and the sky is green. So it's not the sky, it's the lawn. And when I was doing that, when I was brushing the feet, actually the brush strokes became a bit abstract. When I extended that brush stroke, and the color of the flesh, actually with a little bit of orange, it became fire to me. It became apparent it has to be fire. So it was like the figure actually led me, the painting process has led me to that fire. And with that fire, it has to go up. But what is at the bottom is actually, I thought about trees. You know, the trees, the golden trees that were reflected by the sunlight in the south of France. And it has to go underneath, go to the ground, go to the roots. And therefore, you see this installation of the soil on the ground with the foil reflecting the sun.